All right. Welcome back. We are still in the middle of chapter 3, that really long chapter. And we are on the 5th preface, Hakdama HaChamishis, which was about the idea that Hashem created the world in such a way where we have various needs, and the procurement of those needs are outside of ourselves. Hashem placed those needs outside of ourselves, so we would have to go and do various things in order to meet those needs. He mentions at the very least, let's say you're talking about eating. Remember I said yesterday, you're not a plant, you can't photosynthesize. So even if you have the food right in front of you and it's ready to eat and it's right there, you still have to take the food, you have to lift it up, you have to put it to your mouth, you have to chew it. Okay, so there's always some amount of, there's a certain amount of steps between you not having your needs met and getting your needs met. And then sometimes there are many, many, many steps. He gave the metaphor about the water wheel and the pumping water from a well, and sometimes there's the person who ties up the rope to the animal and the animal pulls the pulley. In other words, and I call it the Rube Goldberg machine. There's different steps and stages in between you and getting your needs fulfilled. Okay. And food is just, the probably the archetypical example. But he mentions it's not just eating, it's eating and having shelter and clothing and even the need for human contact and intimacy. These are all needs that Hashem placed outside of ourselves, and we have to go through various different steps in order to attain these things. Okay? And Rabenu Bachaye asks why. Why did Hashem make the world in such a way? So He's going to give two answers. We already learned last night the first answer. You remember last night the first answer? Those who are with us live, you remember last night? Why did Hashem set up the world in such a way? So the first answer we said last night was to test us, to find out what our priorities are. Are we willing to rebel and to compromise our values and to go against the rules Hashem made for us in order to meet our needs? So if our needs were ready-made, if we were, like I say, if you were a plant and you just photosynthesized, you didn't have to do anything, just, stand there. So there would be no test, there would be no challenge. And we wouldn't know what you really believe and what your true values and beliefs and ethics and principles and morals really are. But when your needs are outside of yourself and you have to make choices and you have to decide, am I going to do things according to God's rules, or am I going to sidestep the rules in order to meet my needs? So then you see what a person is really made of. Okay? Fine. So that was one reason. Familiar so far? Okay. And now let's read about a second reason. Okay, let's continue. V'hasheni, and the second reason why Hashem made the world in such a way that our needs are outside of ourselves and it requires many different steps in order to procure those needs. The second reason, v'hasheni ki ilu lo'hutzracha adam litreach lahazir l'sabev lahavos tarpei. If a person did not need to exert himself to pursue and search for means of sustenance, he would rebel. V'reidif acher ha'averis. He would pursue that which is forbidden. V'loi hoya mashkiach al mashu chayev bei al tevas olakim olav. And he wouldn't pay attention to his obligations toward Hashem in exchange for the kindness of Hashem that Hashem does to him. So that's the problem. Kamei shenema, like it says in the prophet in Yeshio, v'hoya kiner v'nevel toif v'cholol v'yain mishteyem, and there are harp and lute. Lute is not like looting. I know, you're thinking about the riots. Lute like an old-fashioned string instrument, okay? And there are harp and lute, tambourine and flute and wine at their parties. Ve'ispoil Hashem lo yabitu u'maisa yadav lo yira'u. And the work of the Lord they do not regard, and the deed of his hands they have not seen. They're partying it up, and they're having a good time, and they're not thinking about the important things in life. V'yomer, and it says, V'yishman yeshurun v'yivot, shamanta avisa kasisa v'yite shaleta asahu. And Yeshurun means the Jewish people, became fat and rebelled. You grew fat, thick, and plump. Yeshurun meaning the Jewish people forsook the God who made them. Also the sages say, we had a couple of verses, one from the prophet and one from Chumash. Now we're going to quote a saying of our sages from Pirkei Avos. Yafa Talmud Teda im Derech Eretz. It is good to put Torah study together with Derech Eretz. Derech Eretz in this case means having a job. Shigia Shneyam Mashkachas Ovein, because the toil of both of them makes misdeed scarce, keeps you out of trouble. Any Torah study that's not accompanied by work will cease in the end and lead to misdeed. So it's important to be busy, and this is how Hashem keeps us busy. Okay. How much more so if Pirkei Avos is saying it's important to have both of those things to keep you busy, Torah study and a job. So how much more so a person who doesn't have either of those and doesn't worry about either of them? Wow. So that guy, he doesn't learn, he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have to do anything. Trust fund baby, and he's got a lot of time on his hands, and he gets into a lot of trouble. So therefore, what do we say here? It is out of the great compassion of the Creator upon man that he preoccupied him with being busy with worldly things. And it is the fate of each person to have to occupy himself with these things all of his life. In order that he will not have time to seek that which he does not need and that which he is not able to comprehend with his intellect. Kamei, for instance, what are the things that he might waste his time on if he had all of his needs met? What would he waste his time on? Kamei inyane hahaschala v'hatichla. Like, for instance, the matters of the beginning and the end. Like what came before the world and what will come after the world. That kind of philosophical stuff. Like the wise man said, Shleima Melech, and also the wisdom of the world he put into their hearts, except for that which would allow the person to find out what Hashem did from beginning, meaning before the world, and until the end, meaning after the world. So Hashem made it possible to find out other things, but not those things. And if a person didn't have to have a job, he would just sit around thinking about these things, like we call it contemplating your navel. Mental self-stimulation, just, for no reason, for naught, no purpose other than just to amuse yourself. Okay. I want to take a look right now at a sikha that I think helps us to understand this concept a little bit better. So this is a sikha. This is a sikha from Chelik Tes Vav of Likutei Sichas, Parshas Lech Lecha, the fourth sikha of Lech Lecha. And it starts on page 93. So let's just take a look at this here. In Shayches zu der Havtocha von Eibishten zu Avramen, Lazarcha etein es ha'aretz hazeis. In connection to the promise that Hashem made to Avram Avinu, to your descendants I will give this land, talking about what was then called the land of Canaan, and later on became Eretz Yisrael. Zokter in Medrash. The Medrash says, what Medrash? Medrash Bereishis Rabbah, on our Parsha, Parshas Lech Lecha, Perek Lamed Tes, paragraph Ches. So that's 39:8. Avram Mahalach Baram Narayim. Chulu. When Avram came to, or at that point I guess Avram came to Aram Narayim, Ra'a oisen eichlim v'sheisim upeichsim. He saw them eating and drinking and acting recklessly. Amar, and he said, Halavai la yeheli chelik ba'aretz hazeis. I wish that I will not have a portion in this land. He didn't like it. He saw them partying and he didn't want to have any part in that. V'keven shagia l'sulma shel tzur. But then, when he came to Sulma Shaltzur, which is a part of Eretz Canaan. And what did he see over there? Ra'ah, he saw Oisan Oiskin, he saw them occupied B'nichush chulu, B'idur chulu. They were occupied in weeding and hoeing, gardening type stuff. So Amar Halavayeh Chelki Ba'aretz Hazais. He said, I wish my lot will be with this land. Amar Leya Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Hashem said to him, Lezarcha etein es ha'aretz hazais. To your descendants I will give this land. So Hashem's promise, which is in Parshas Lech Lecha, in Perek Yud Beis Pasuk Zayin, is Hashem's response, according to the Medrash, when Avram saw how in the land of Canaan they were working, and he said, this is a good place, this is where I would like my future descendants to settle. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole Sikha. It's not a long Sikha, but we're not going to go through the whole thing. But I just want to take a look at, let's take a look. Sif Dalid. Yeah, okay, fine. So, wenn man das verstehen, behekt dem Asbara, in was besteht die Chashivas von Amol Bechlal. So the Rebbe is explaining, again, it's a whole Sikha, it's a whole Arichos, but at this point in the Sikha, in the fourth section, the Rebbe says, we need to understand first the whole concept of Amol, of toil. Bis as der Mit is verbunden der klalistische Tachlis von Brias HaAdam, Adam la'amol yulad. We find that a person is even described in Torah, it's a pasuk in Iyov, in the book of Job, a person is described as not only that he happens to toil, but that his purpose in life is to toil, that a person was born to toil. That's what it says. Adam la'amol yulad, a person was born to toil. So seemingly, vibal der Eibishter, flip the page, is etzem hatev, v'teva hatev lehetiv, since Hashem is the essence of good, and it is the nature of the good to do good. Was hat eingestellt die Bria in Efen? Why did he set up the world in such a way as der Mensch soll davon ankommen zu Amol v'yagia, that a person should need to toil and work hard. Wir können nicht sagen, so you might try to say, but we can't say, as das ist der Fall, was ein Mensch betivei hat teinig beiker von der Sach, was bekommt durch sein Horavanya. That it's because a person primarily enjoys that which he worked for. Al derech maimer azal, like the saying of our sages, Adam reitze bekav shalei mites kav mishel chaverei. A person would rather have one measure that he worked for than 9 measures that was a free handout. So anyways, that sounds like an answer. Why did Hashem make us have to toil? Because Hashem's good and we like to toil. We appreciate things when we've earned them. Okay, but that's not a good answer. You know why? Because that nature itself, that we prefer things that we earned, Hashem put that nature in us. So the question goes back to square one. Mit der Teva zu haben teinig Davke von Sachen, was bekommt durch Amol v'yagia. Why did Hashem make us in such a way that we dafka enjoy things that we worked for? In Yonei Tsar, things that even, that we had pain in order to gain. Unit von matnas chinum. Just the way He made us this way, He could have made us that we do enjoy free handouts. So the question returns to the beginning again. Why did Hashem make the world in such a way where not only toil is part of life, but it's a major part or an essential part, or maybe even in some ways, it is the major part of life in this world. Der bir dem. Okay, so let's continue. The explanation is like this. Amitius v'tachas hatev is, as der Mensch soll der Griechen nicht nur die höchste Schleimus, was ist da in Geder Nivroim. The greatest good, the truest good, is not just that a person should reach the highest level of perfection that a created being can reach. Nor euch, but rather more than that. A madrege was in ihr Werter kviyochel demele beirei. But a level whereby he becomes similar to his maker. So it's not enough that a human being should reach the highest level that a created being can reach. A human being needs to be able to reach a level that is similar to his creator, kaviyachol. Val derech lashon Chazal, this is not an original idea, this is an idea we find in Chazal. Shutef lakadosh baruch hu b'ma'aseh v'reishis. Chazal talk about us as having the ability to achieve a level called partners with Hashem in the creation of the world. Partners in creation? How do you say a human being is a partner with creation? That's uniquely godly. Yes, but that's the point, that we're supposed to come to such a level where we actually take on godly qualities. Even a godly quality, or especially a godly quality so uniquely godly like creating. Therefore, hat der Eibishter eingestellt dem Seder Abriya. Hashem set up the order of nature, the order of creation in such a manner. As der Mensch soll seine by definition nit bakumen min amuchan, that a person should not be able to attain his needs ready-made, nor dafke durch amal v'yagia, rather only through toil and work. Why? Bichdei, as durch dem soll sich aufheben, that through that he should be elevated, nit nor zu der Schleimes von a mekabel kidabei, not just to the level that a recipient can reach, a makabel, which is another way of saying the shleimus von a nivra, the highest level of perfection that a created being can reach. But not just that, no, more. Nor euch, but rather also zu der madrege von a mashpia, to the level of a giver, a provider, and the Rebbe says in parentheses, umahave, a creator, dema labeirei, similar to his creator. Durch dem, was der Mensch horvet und schafft bekeach atzmei. Through this, that a person works and makes things with his own effort. Und das gufas der tam of der tevahanal. This itself, this is the reason why Hashem made us have this nature. As a Mensch hat nit kein Tainug von Sachen, was bekommt bechinnem. A person doesn't truly enjoy that which was given as a free handout. Nor adraba. Schämt sich damit. He's embarrassed of it. Why? What's the rule? What's the law? He has to be embarrassed with it? No. Hashem gave us that nature for a reason. That we're embarrassed with freebies and handouts. That what we call nam d'chsufa. It's Aramaic for bread of shame. Why? Why did Hashem make us that way? Weil in dem Adam is mutba, as sein Tafkid und Schleimes is zu sein nit nor a mekabel nor euch a mashpia dem lebeirei. Because a person has been implanted with the nature that his mission and the fulfillment of his perfection is to not only be a recipient, but to also be a provider, similar to the way his creator is the ultimate provider, the ultimate giver. I'm not going to do more of that sikha inside, although really it's a fascinating sikha. I will just mention that towards the end of the Sikha, the Rebbe mentions that there's other types of omil. There's omil Sikha, the toil of speech, which is davening. And there's also omil Torah, the toil of learning Torah. And the truth is, since a person just needs to be a giver, a maker, somebody who works in order to accomplish things, then it would be all right if he were a maker and a giver and a provider and a doer and a shaker in those ways as well, or even instead of in the conventional sense of having to go out and make a living. Yeah. Okay, so let's just continue a little bit here. I think the Rabenu Bachaye is saying a similar thing here. Okay? All right. V'im hu magbir avedas hu alakim But if a person strengthens himself in the service of Hashem and chooses to be fearful of Him, and trusts in Hashem in matters of Torah and in matters of the world, this is sort of what we were talking about, by the way, a couple nights ago, about trusting in Hashem in Torah and in the world. Trusting in Hashem in the world means you trust Hashem to run the world the way that is best for you. Trusting in Hashem in Torah means trusting Hashem that His rules are for your benefit and you should, do things the way that He told you to do them. At any rate, so let's say there's a person who's good. He's doing everything the way he's supposed to do it. He fears Hashem and he's following the program. And he goes away from the reprehensible things. And he desires the acquisition of good character traits. He's not going to rebel if he has rest time. And he won't be drawn after wasting away his time, being idle. And his evil inclination will not lead him astray. And he won't be enticed by the magical allure of this world. Okay, so we just described a person who is he's very spiritual and he's got the right priorities and he's chosen to live life in the best possible way. Okay, so if that is the case, what happens? Yistalik me olav teira hagilgul vasibov avos tarpe. So in turn, such a person will be relieved from the need to exert himself in the search to obtain his sustenance. Mipnei histalkos shnei aponim aniskarim me olav. Because the two reasons mentioned above that we said why a person would need to be preoccupied with working hard all the time, namely, habechina, that's the first thing to test him, habita batayva, or that he would rebel against the goodness Hashem has done for him. So those two reasons we just said why a person has to go out of his way and go through so many steps in order to obtain his needs, that doesn't pertain to this guy because he's being good. He doesn't need to be tested because he's already passing the test. And he doesn't need to be kept busy because he's not the kind of guy who would waste his time if he was given free time. So therefore, he'll be given his sustenance without toil, without work, according to his needs. Like it says, Loi Yariv Hashem Nefesh Tzadik. Hashem will not starve the soul of the righteous. So he's being good. He doesn't need to be tested. He's so good that even if he were given all the leeway, the free time in the world, he wouldn't misuse it. So therefore, all the reasons why Hashem normally has to put our needs so many steps away from us, those reasons would not apply in his case. So Hashem could just deliver it to him, and it's not a problem. Now, we have the Sikha from which we were just looking at from Chelik Tezvov, the Sikha volume 15, which helps us to understand that a little bit better, because it's implicit here in the words as well in the Rabenu Bachaye, but if he's not going to be busy making a living, so he'll be busy with other things, namely what? With mitzvahs, with learning Torah, with davening. He'll daven a couple hours Shachris every morning. Why not? Okay, Shabbos he'll daven 4 hours. Of a weekday he'll daven 2 hours. A Shabbos daven 4 hours. Okay, because he's a good guy. He's got the right priorities, and there's different. And he'll still have the mila of having amol. He'll still be able to be a worker, somebody who works and accomplishes. But it can just all be in spiritual stuff. Why not? Yeah. So, okay, there's a question here. Rabbeinu Bachaye seems to be saying Hashem's kindness is that He keeps us busy. The Rebbe is saying that Hashem's kindness is making us creators. No? It's not a contradiction. It's the same thing. Because at the end, Rabbeinu Bachaye concludes that if a person is being good already, so therefore he doesn't need to be tested, that reason doesn't apply to him. And he doesn't need to be kept busy with busy work because he wouldn't fritter away his time on needless things anyway. So therefore, Hashem can just deliver his sustenance to him. Oh, but then, according to the Sikha and Chelik Tezvav, what toil will he get to do? If he's not toiling at making a living because Hashem's just delivering it to him, so then where will he get to work and be a co-creator? What do you mean, where will he get to work? He can be Mechadish Chedushim, learn Torah, come up with cool ideas and insights. He can daven, that can be his work. He can do mitzvahs, Ma'asim Tevim, that could be his work. So we always need to be productive because we need to be co-creators, but it could just be in a completely spiritual context. Okay? Understood. Fine. Hashem, we will see you tomorrow night.